Tom did a great job of taking the Raiders through a transition period.
Right.
Madden was a great coach and a real players coach. So he really didn't care what you did as long as you showed up and played on Sundays.
Right.
Well, that was, you know, the 70s.
Yeah. Well, it was a mentality.
Drug cultures.
And everything worked. Everything worked.
And he put together people. But then Tom came in, and the Raiders went through a very concerted, strict regimen of cleaning up the team and getting rid of that as much as they could. Right. But really, I mean, it was just very different when I got there. Heard the stories from the guys. But, you know, on the other hand, there was some holdovers. I remember second training camp I was at, I think. No, actually, it was first year I was there, training camp. And I'm changed positions. As it ends up, I'm trying to make a team. I don't know. I'm coming from the Buccaneers.
Coming from the Bucs.
And at that time, with Phil Kruger negotiating, he'd say, you know, he'd convince you that you couldn't play anybody else, so you needed to take whatever he'd offer. That's a great way to encourage your players.
Great negotiation, right.
And here I am with the Raiders, trying not to believe that, but it's got it in the back of my mind, and I'm watching. I'm there with legends, you know, with 2 or 3 people that have won Heisman trophies and stuff. So, and I'm sitting, Charley Hannah's sitting here with these people. What am I doing? Well, anyway, they did a double bed check one night and came around and checked at 1:30 in the morning, and we were down to 50, 52 players, and 27 were out. And the only reason there weren't 30 is because 3 guys had come in because one guy had spilled some stuff on himself and had to change clothes.
Change clothes, right? Yeah.
And they checked while he was changing clothes, and they went back out.
Right.
So and then the next day I walked into a meeting, and this is after being used to Coach McKay, a little volatile, and Tom walks into the meeting and he says, "Guys, I really want to talk to you. This is serious. We're talking about winning a Super Bowl here," which struck me as odd too. I'd never heard that kind of talk.
You never heard those kind of
We're here
words
to
before?
win a Super Bowl.
Right.
Since college, you know, that's what I was used to, and I felt maybe I am at home. And he goes, "We're here to win a Super Bowl." And that's no kind of behavior. 27 people out at Chase. I don't expect that anymore. Let's not do that.
And that was the end of the conversation.
And then we walked out, and I'm like, this was a special meeting. And Bruce Davis, great, smartest offensive lineman I ever played with, walked out, and he's, you know, stands about 3 inches taller than me, and says, "You've just been chewed out by Tom Flores." And I went,
"Wow,
that's it."
Well,
I said, I saw Coach McKay break his hand twice, you know.
Well, you talked about McKay, and he was known for some interesting quotes. I mean, you know, my favorite one was when asked about the offensive performance, he said, "I'm all for it."
You know, my favorite Coach McKay quotes?
What's that?
The ones that weren't about me. They were all funny until they were about you.
That's right.
You know, but and he, you know, I think the one that is the most memorable to me, because nobody would stand next to the mail truck for a month, because when he said, and we scored a touchdown to win a game.
Right.
And everybody's signaling touchdown, and he goes, and there's our team doing its imitation of the Italian army.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
The Italian community here in town didn't take
too kindly to that one, no.
And
but he, you know,
we got some nasty stuff in the mail.
I'll bet. But you know, the truth is, I mean, he's well loved. He took the team from
he did,
zero,
you know,
from nothing. He didn't mean
listen. Coach McKay came here and made a bold statement of this town. I'm going to give Tampa a competitive team, competitive with anybody in the NFL in 5 years, and I'm going to do it through the draft.
Right.
And in 1979,
NFC
not 5 years, and you know what? We should have won that game.
Really
we were razor thin talent. We didn't have a lot of depth. We were thin, and but we had a lot of great talent on that team.
You know, well, it's funny.
And then Phil Kruger convinced them that they should win Super Bowls with other people.
Right. Well, you know, we talk about it. This weekend.
I didn't wear my ring.
I was about to say, didn't wear your ring.
I didn't wear my ring.
Didn't wear your ring. And, you know, this weekend we've got Throwback Sunday with the Bucs, inducting Coach McKay into the Ring of Honor.
You know what? I owe so much to Coach McKay, because Coach McKay was encouraging to me. I mean, I could tell stories of times when he was himself and I was the butt of the jokes. But the truth is that he did that for Tampa. For me, he was just very encouraging in the position I played on defense, and then gave me an opportunity to play on the offensive line, which was more of a natural position.
Which was the fit. Yeah.
And then I guess in hindsight, I should I should thank him for letting me get to the Raiders, because
Then you
I
get
don't
your
know.
ring.
I don't think I fit in anymore down here with some of the guys. And I was considered old when I was 27 and went to the Raiders, and then played as many years with the Raiders.
Yeah, exactly. You
because-
played 6 here, 6 there, so.
Yeah, so I was halfway done, and I don't think, and you know, I couldn't have played that long in Tampa. The heat, the
Everything
practice schedules.
Right.
Ugh.
Well, now you win the ring with the Raiders, and we were talking before. You one of the most famous plays in Super Bowl history, football history, Marcus Allen with the run.
His cutback.
His cutback. I mean,
Best missed the whole play ever in the history of the game.
you know, you gotta like that. You know,
Absolutely.
You missed the whole, but he made up for it.
Oh,
know?
you know, there was a well-blocked play, and he had a solid 7 or 8 yards if he'd hit the hole.
which shows why some guys are brilliant and in the Hall of Fame, and other guys are hitting the hole, right?
But he overran it and then cut back. And if you ever watch the play, you got to watch Jim Plunkett. Jim's not the most mobile guy in the world,
No.
but he sees Marcus come back and he starts to break to the outside so he can try to block somebody. And 3 guys run to the outside so Jim won't
wow.
hook him.
Okay.
And Marcus cuts up inside,
inside, and
and
he's
gone,
gone. Yeah,
and
that's
he's
great.
history. And he
Oh, my
makes
gosh.
longest run in NFL
Yeah, absolutely.
Super Bowl history.
That's a beautiful thing. Tell you what,
And
let's-
gets me on ESPN.
and
once
gets
in a
you on-
while.
that's right.
They don't call my name,
well, you're there.
but I point to my kids and say,
You
"That's
circle
me."
it and say, "That's me right there."
That's
you know?
me.
Well, let's do this. Let's get back to the Bucs a little bit. We were talking about this Sunday. We had a tough loss this past Sunday against the Ravens. For me, now as a guy looking on the other side of the line, if Mike Singletary's on the other side or Jack Lambert's on the other side, do you feel differently? And I say that with the idea that this week the guys were looking at Ray Lewis on the other side of the line. Does it feel that differently being on the field?
At times, and I think the more youthful you are, you probably feel that way. But you start knocking heads a little bit, and anybody with the fire of competitiveness in them that it's going to take to be successful. And not all players have that, by the way. There are those that are just out there making a living and marking time,
Right.
and but almost all of them have a real competitive spirit, and I don't think that's any different today than it ever was. And once you're on the field, you're there to win, and it didn't matter if you were playing Tiddlywinks or the Super Bowl.
You're going to make it happen. Well,
Oh.
this team's a young team. They're fighting for the playoffs now.
I want to tell you what, I think they're all they got to do is play within themselves and do what they've been doing, and they're a cinch for the playoffs. Really, and I would have never given them a snowball's chance in hell at the beginning of the year.
I wouldn't be.
And they've done some great things. Now, they're young, and I hope they don't get carried away with that, because the things that have made them do well till now need to be continued to be done, and they don't need to lose focus and start celebrating and thinking, no, had a great year,
Right.
because it ain't over.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. College is a little different. How was your transition? The season was not as long when you started, or the difference in the season was not as much.
But neither was the college season.
Right, exactly.
I
That's
think
true.
we played 10 games in
And now
those
they
days,
play
maybe
12,
11.
13, 14 now.
Yeah,
Right.
and today that's much longer. But when I played my first year with the Buccaneers, I went. We practiced twice a day for 12 weeks.
Oh my gosh! Got a call coming here. Let me check this. Go ahead, caller. You're on Sports
Hey,
Sound-Off.
Randy, this is Bill.
Hey, Bill, how are you?
Just wondering what you think about the Chiefs. You think they'll keep the division, or you think the San Diego's going to come up on them? Thank you.
Well, thanks, Bill. Bill is our resident Chiefs fan that calls in regularly. We thank you, Bill, for calling us on that.
They love the Raiders in Kansas City.
Yeah, they really do.
They loved it, especially when we used to thrash them.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and this year they won on the kick by Janikowski. So Raiders are still not exactly.
Oh yeah,
the favorites.
they never will be, and that's
Never,
what makes football fun.
But I with regard to Bill's question, I personally think the Chargers are up and coming. I watch them against.
They do
the
it every
Colts.
year.
Yeah, I mean, and Rivers is my favorite young quarterback. I mean, nothing against our local.
From my neck of the woods,
in
North
exactly,
Alabama. There.
Exactly. I mean, nothing against our local young quarterback who's shown a lot of good promise.
I think he's showing promise quicker than
Then
Philip
you-
Rivers and
I
John
agree.
Elway.
Yeah,
I can name a lot of people that took
Yep.
a few years to look as good as.
Absolutely, he's looking great.
There's so many surprises on the team.
What do you
It's
think?
just-
Speaking of that, who's your biggest surprise for the guys that are coming along?
Oh, well, I watched a lot, you know, and they're not all young. Talib, but he's had such a
Talib's great.
phenomenal year.
Yeah.
I mean, and then Randy